Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're going to get into a feeling that, well, I think almost everyone listening has felt it at some point.
Oh, for sure.
It's that really specific, gnawing frustration of feeling completely and totally stuck.
Mhm.
You know the feeling I'm talking about. You're showing up, you're working your tail off, you're doing everything, right,
Checking all the boxes.
checking every single box your boss or your industry tells you to check, and yet you're just not moving forward. You look around and maybe you see other people skipping ahead, sometimes people who seem less qualified than you, and you're just there.
Static. It's the universal frustration of the plateau. It
Mhm.
really is. It's that moment where the rubber meets the road and the road just feels like quicksand.
Right.
And what we're going to look at today is a very counterintuitive reason for why that happens. We're looking at a core paradox from Wallace D. Wattles.
Mm.
He argues that being a good employee,
Hmm.
doing your job perfectly, fitting in, keeping your head down, being that reliable person is often the very thing that traps you.
Okay, that is a terrifying thought to start with.
It is.
The idea that just being good at your job is the trap. I mean, that goes against everything we were ever taught, right? In school, it's sit still, do your homework, get the gold star, and you'll succeed.
It creates a huge cognitive dissonance, absolutely.
Yeah.
But it is the trap if you don't understand the principle we're discussing today.
So what are we talking about?
We're in Chapter 15 of The Science of Getting Rich. The chapter is titled The Advancing Man.
The advancing man.
And before we get too deep into it, I just want to clarify something for everyone listening. When Waddle says man, he's using the language of his time, 1910.
Right, let's clear that up immediately. This is not a gendered concept.
Not at all. This applies to everyone. The
Yeah.
wage earner, the professional, the business owner. I mean, let's be honest. The principles of psychology and physics, they don't really care about gender.
Exactly.
Yep.
So the advancing man, or let's say the advancing person, is this specific archetype we are trying to decode today.
Yes. It's someone who moves from stagnation to momentum.
And here's the part I love. Without asking for permission.
That is the key phrase right there, without asking for permission. Most of us are just waiting. We're waiting for some gatekeeper to open the door for us. The advancing person realizes there is no gate.
I love that. So our mission today is to really decode that specific behavioral shift that you need to make to become that person, to go from just filling a seat to actually, moving up.
It's a fundamental shift in energy.
Okay, so before we get into the mechanics of that, and there are a lot of mechanics to cover, including some really interesting modern psychology, I just want to say this to everyone listening.
Please do.
If this episode helps you, please hit like and subscribe for the next one.
It genuinely helps us keep making these.
All right, so let's start with the big definition. We hear this term, the advancing man. It sounds a bit like a comic book hero or something.
Right.
What does it actually mean in plain English?
In plain English, Wattles defines this as an individual who is, and this is his phrase, too big for their present place.
Be too big for your place. Okay. And obviously, we're not talking about physical size here. We're not saying you need a bigger chair.
No, although that would be a much simpler problem to solve, wouldn't it?
A lot simpler.
No, we are talking about capacity. We're talking about energy, surplus value.
Surplus value. Okay.
If you think back to our last discussion, we talked about the concept of increase.
Right. That everything is always trying to expand.
Exactly. Every living thing has this innate drive to expand. Biology, nature, the universe, a seed wants to become a plant. A plant wants to become a tree. A tree wants to become a forest.
It's the fundamental rule. If it's not growing, it's dying. Entropy takes over.
Exactly right. So the advancing person is simply the human embodiment of this biological imperative. It is the refusal to remain static in what is fundamentally a dynamic universe.
Okay, but this is where it gets tricky, right?
Right.
Because that biological drive, it crashes head-on into the economic reality of the workplace.
It does. And this is where Wattles makes a very sharp, almost ruthless observation about what he calls the good workman.
This is the trap you mentioned earlier, the good workman trap.
Yes. So let's look at this from an employer's perspective for a second. Wattles argues that a person who merely fills their place, just to the best of their ability, does a perfect job, is incredibly valuable to their employer.
Right where they are?
Right where they are.
Oh, I see where this is going. If I'm the best widget maker on the line, and I make widgets perfectly every single day, and I never complain, I never ask for more.
Then you are the dream employee. But you're a dream employee for a static role. You've essentially become a piece of profitable machinery.
Ouch.
I mean, think about it. You're reliable, you're low maintenance, and you deliver exactly what's paid for. promoting you.
Oh.
Well, that actually creates a problem for the employer.
Because now they have to replace me.
And the replacement might not be as good as you were. They might have to train them. They might complain more. You've become so good, you're irreplaceable in that spot.
So competence creates stagnation. By being perfect, I've actually incentivized the entire system to keep me exactly where I am.
Competence without surplus creates stagnation. That's the crucial distinction.
Yeah, okay.
To advance, you can't just be enough. You must be more than enough.
Yeah.
You have to overflow the boundaries of your current role. You've got to be too big for the container.
I want to dig into that container metaphor because I think it's so powerful. If I'm just water in a cup and I fill the cup perfectly to the brim, well, I stay in the cup.
Right. The cup holds you perfectly, no problem.
But if I just keep pouring water in...
You spill over,
Yeah.
you make a mess,
Yeah.
you can't be contained anymore, and that's the goal. You want to become uncontainable in your current role.
Okay, so how do we actually do that? Because the instinct, and I think this is where so many people get completely burned out, is usually, okay, I'll just work harder, I'll stay late, I'll do the work of 3 people and just hope my boss notices.
Right, the brute force method.
But Wattles seems to be saying that's actually the wrong approach.
It's the wrong approach if the motivation is wrong. And this is the subtle but critical pivot point. This brings us to the psychology of it all. We have to shift from approval-seeking to self-advancement.
Unpack that difference for us. Because on the outside, working hard to please the boss and working hard for yourself, I mean, they might look like the exact same action. You're still typing the report, you're still sweeping the floor.
The action looks the same, but the internal energy is diametrically opposite. Most people work hard because they want to curry favor.
Currying favor leads to stagnation.
Absolutely. They want the boss to like them. They're looking for that pat on the head. They are operating from a place of deficit. I am not enough until you tell me that I am enough.
Right. It's that pick me energy.
Exactly. And Wattles warns strictly against this. He says, do not do this to please your employer. Because when you work to please someone else, you are putting the power over your own future into their hands. You're literally outsourcing your destiny.
You're waiting to be picked. And if the boss is distracted, or they're biased, or maybe they're just bad at their job, you don't get picked.
And what happens then?
You get bitter.
You get bitter. You feel used. You feel resentful. The advancing person does not wait to be picked. They work hard, yes. They deliver excellence, absolutely. But they do it because it is the method by which they outgrow the environment. They hold the purpose of increase for themselves.
So I'm not writing this report perfectly because I want my manager to come by and say, good job. I'm writing it perfectly because I am a person of excellence, and frankly, this report is too small for my real capability.
Yes, that's it. It's such a subtle but massive shift in energy. You're doing it because sloppy work is beneath you, not because it'll get you points with someone else. You are holding the concept of what you want to become while you're doing the current work.
You know, this sounds so much like what we see in modern psychology. We've talked before about Peter Gollwitzer and his work on implementation intentions.
It is the exact same mechanism. It's just described in 1910 language versus 21st century academic language.
Right.
Gollwitzer's research, I think it was at NYU, it shows that these vague goals like I want to get promoted or I just want to be successful, they rarely work. The brain just doesn't know how to execute on be successful.
It's way too abstract. There's no action plan.
Exactly. What works are these if-then plans, a pre-decided response to an environment. So the advancing person is effectively running this internal code that says, if I am at work, then I act with the efficiency of a CEO. Even if my job title says I'm sweeping the floors.
So you're decoupling your identity from your current circumstance.
You have to. You absolutely have to. If you identify as the janitor, you will sweep like a janitor. But if you identify as a future leader who is currently responsible for the cleanliness of this facility, you sweep differently.
Wow.
You aren't sweeping floors as an endpoint. You are a future leader who just happens to be sweeping a floor right now. It's a temporary task. You're holding the identity of the person who has already transcended this work.
Action receives what thought creates. That's a game changer right there. You're bringing the energy of your future self into your current task.
And that energy is palpable. I mean, people feel it. We're social animals. We're so incredibly attuned to status signals and confidence. When someone is operating above their station, not in an arrogant way, but in a capability way, everyone around them notices.
It reminds me of when you see a local band playing in some tiny dive bar, but they play with the intensity and professionalism of a stadium tour.
Yes.
You just know, watching them, they are not staying in that bar for long.
That is the perfect analogy. They're too big for the stage.
So Wattles gives us three very specific examples of how this looks in the real world, just to prove that it applies to everyone. I think it's important we walk through these because I know we have listeners in all different walks of life.
Absolutely. He covers the entire spectrum.
Okay, let's start with the first one, the wage earner. Wattles talks about someone working for the steel trust or on a farm. In modern terms, let's think of, I don't know, the Amazon warehouse worker, the barista, the entry-level data entry clerk.
Right. Manual labor, repetitive tasks, very little autonomy.
Yeah.
This is the hardest scenario for most people to even visualize a way out of.
Yeah.
Because the environment itself feels so oppressive, you feel like a tiny cog in a giant machine.
And the common mistake.
The common mistake here is to say, well, I'll work hard once I get a better job. Or to just sit around, projecting thoughts into space, hoping for a rescue.
Yeah, manifesting a winning lottery ticket while you're slacking off at work.
Precisely. And Wattles is very, very firm on this. Do not wait for a better job to start acting like you deserve one. Act now in present business. The strategy is to perform every single mundane task, moving the iron, plowing the field, filing the paper with the power and the purpose of someone who is destined for leadership.
Okay, let me play devil's advocate here for a second. What if there is literally no room to move up? I mean, if I'm a barista at a tiny family-owned coffee shop, there's no head of global coffee strategy role for me to get promoted into. I'm just making lattes.
It doesn't matter. And this is the most radical part of the entire philosophy. If you are truly too big for your place, and you fill that place with surplus energy, the law of increase dictates you must move.
Wah, how? Where do you go?
If there's no room to move up inside that company, that energy will naturally attract a new opportunity from elsewhere. You'll get noticed by a competitor who comes in for coffee. You'll get noticed by a customer who comes in every day and thinks, you know what? That person runs this counter better than my own managers run my office.
Huh.
Or the discipline you build by mastering that small role gives you the momentum and the confidence to find the side door yourself. You start your own thing.
So you're saying you just can't contain a person who is actively outgrowing their container. The universe finds a way.
The universe and the market abhors a vacuum. If you're over-delivering value, the market will eventually correct to compensate you for that value, provided you're open to seeing the opportunity when it appears.
Okay, let's move to the second example, the professional. This is the doctor, the lawyer, the teacher.
Yes, the service provider.
Yeah.
This is for all the people out there who trade their expertise for money. Here, the strategy is to combine the mastery of your skill with what Wattles calls the radiation of increase.
Radiate the impression of increase. That sounds like a superpower, or maybe something slightly radioactive.
It essentially is a superpower. It means that every patient, every client, every student who interacts with you must feel that that interaction added genuine value to their life. You aren't just there to fix a broken arm. You are a creative center of vitality.
I think we've all experienced this, right? You go to two different doctors. They might both give you the exact same prescription, but one makes you feel like a number on a chart, and the other one makes you feel seen, capable.
Exactly. When you're a doctor who radiates hope and health and capability, patients flock to you. Wattles says they come in throngs. Why? Because people want to be around that energy. We are all starving for the feeling of increase.
So for the professional, it's not just about technical skill. It's about the emotional wake you leave behind you.
Yes, that's a great way to put it. Do people feel bigger or smaller after talking to you? The advancing person makes everyone they interact with feel a little bit bigger.
And the third example, the creator or the business owner. The person selling goods or ideas.
Here, the strategy is all about delivering value versus just hype. And there's a great quote Wattles references from a guy named Golden Rule Jones, Samuel M. Jones. He was a progressive mayor and a businessman around the turn of the century.
And his motto was, what I want for myself, I want for everybody.
That's the one. What I want for myself, I want for everybody. That motto, if you really adopt it, it completely removes the competitive mindset, where I have to beat you in order to win, and it replaces it with creative abundance.
So if you're a business owner,
you don't advance by tricking your customers. You don't advance by shrinking the product and raising the price.
which feels like the modern business strategy for half the companies out there these days.
It's the strategy of what Wattles calls the competitive plane. And look, it works for a little while, but it doesn't create lasting advancement. The advancing business owner advances by delivering more use value than the cash value they take.
Let's pause on that. Use value versus cash value. That's a critical distinction in all of Wattles' work.
It's the cornerstone of ethical wealth. It's simple. If I sell you a book for $20, I take $20 of cash value from you. But if the ideas in that book help you start a business that makes you $1,000,000,
Then the use value was
the
immense.
use value I gave you was massive. I gave you way more than I took. The advancing business owner adopts this mindset for everything. Make sure everyone who touches your business, your customers, your employees, your suppliers, leaves with more than they came with. You become a fountain, not a drain.
It seems like the common thread through all of this is this idea of surplus. You're always giving more, being more, radiating more. But there's a nuance here that we need to be really careful about. Because radiating power can very easily turn into just being an arrogant jerk.
It is a very, very fine line. And Wattles addresses this specifically. He talks about the boasting trap. He's very explicit about it. Do not boast or brag about your success.
But why? I mean, if we're supposed to be these advancing people, shouldn't we be telling everyone, personal branding and all that?
There is a huge difference between marketing your value and boasting about your status. Boasting is actually a symptom. It's a symptom of hidden fear. It's a symptom of doubt.
How so?
Well, think about the loudest person in the room at any party. The person who is constantly telling you how much money they made, who they know, how smart they are.
Yeah, they're usually the most annoying person in the room.
They're annoying, but psychologically, why are they doing it? They're doing it because they are desperately trying to convince themselves. They are loud because they're secretly worried they might not actually be that good. It's pure overcompensation.
That really resonates. The loudest person is almost always the most insecure. Quiet assurance beats loud boasting.
Faith is never boastful. The correct tone, according to Wattles, and I think most psychologists would agree, is quiet assurance. True faith is silent. It doesn't need to shout from the rooftops. It radiates through your tone, your look, the quality of your work.
It's that strong, silent type archetype we see in movies.
It is. People instinctively feel the power of a person who knows exactly where they're going. Words are often just unnecessary noise. Yeah, there's that great line, if you have to tell me you're the king, you aren't the king.
Right. So we have the definition, we have the psychology, we have the examples. But even with all of that, people still mess this up. Let's run through the 5 most common mistakes people make when they try to become an advancing person.
These are the pitfalls that will just stop your momentum cold.
Okay, mistake number 1, waiting for the right environment to start acting.
This is the I'll be excellent when syndrome. I'll be excellent when I get that promotion. I'll be organized when I finally get the big office. The fix is so simple but so hard. Act now.
Act now.
Act on the people and things in your present environment. You can't act where you are not. You can only act where you are right now.
Mistake number 2, acting with a divided mind. This is where you're physically doing the work, but your head is off in the clouds, just dreaming of the future.
This is a classic mistake of the visionary. You are so focused on the future castle you want to build that you lay the bricks of today's foundation all crooked.
And the result is sloppy work.
Sloppy work. The fix is to put your whole mind into the present action. Efficient action requires total focus. You hold the vision of the future in the background, sure, but your focus has to be laser-locked on the task at hand. Fill your present place completely.
Mistake number 3, currying favor. We touched on this already, but it's worth repeating. The people-pleasing trap.
The fix is to shift your focus inward to personal excellence and self-respect. You are advancing for you. If the boss likes it, great. If they don't, well, you're probably outgrowing them anyway.
Mistake number 4, ignoring the small opportunities. Waiting for the big break to come along.
The fix here is to realize that the big break is usually just a collection of 1,000 small opportunities that you took. Take the immediate opportunity to be a little more than you are now. That is the first step toward the greater opportunity.
And finally, mistake number 5, slipping into a competitive or an envious mindset when you see other people succeeding.
This one will kill your momentum faster than anything. The fix is to remember the abundance mindset. There is no lack of opportunity. If one door closes or if someone else gets the promotion you wanted, it just means a better door is opening for the advancing person. You don't need that job. You need the job that matches your size.
I love that framing. I don't need that job. I need the job that matches my size. Okay, this is all great in theory. We want to make it practical. We have designed a guided exercise for our listeners. We're calling it the Advancing Identity Practice.
And this is something you can do right now or tomorrow morning before you start your day.
Yeah.
It's a 6-step process to really lock in this new mindset.
Okay, step 1. Choose the person you are becoming. Visualize that professional identity.
Yes, see it clearly. Don't be vague. Are you a director? A master craftsman? A CEO? A successful artist? Hold that specific image.
Step 2. Choose one standard you will live today.
Just one. Don't overwhelm yourself. Maybe today's standard is punctuality. Maybe it's kindness. Maybe it's speed. Pick one standard that your future you never, ever compromises on, and just live it for today.
I like that. Step 3. Choose one skill you will sharpen.
Pick something tangible, something related to your actual work. If you're in sales, maybe it's practicing your closing question. If you're a coder, maybe it's spending 15 minutes on a new language. Just sharpen one edge of your blade today.
Step 4. Choose one proof action you will complete today.
This needs to be a physical task that you do perfectly. File that report without a single typo. Clean your workspace until it shines. Do one thing that serves as proof to yourself that you are too big for sloppy work.
Okay. Step 5. Choose one sentence you will speak that matches the standard.
This is all about your language. Start affirming success. So instead of saying, ugh, I'm so swamped, maybe you say, I'm focusing on the highest priority. Speak like the person you're becoming.
And finally, step 6. Identify one old behavior you will refuse to do today.
Yes. What is the one thing that's keeping you small? Is it complaining? Is it gossiping? Is it slouching in your chair? Pick one small thing and just refuse to do it for the next 24 hours.
That is such a powerful list. If you do those 6 things, even for one day, you inevitably start to shift your own frequency.
You can't help but shift. You are signaling both to yourself and to the world that you have changed.
All right, let's bring this all home. We have covered a lot of ground here. Let's just recap the key takeaways for becoming the advancing person.
First point, advancement requires outgrowing your present place by more than just filling it. You have to be bigger than the role.
And second, mere competence keeps you stuck. You must demonstrate surplus capacity.
Third, stop working to please others. Work to expand your own potential. For you.
Fourth, hold the clear concept of who you are becoming while you are doing today's work.
Fifth, radiate the impression of increase in every single transaction. Leave everyone better than you found them.
Sixth, avoid boasting. Let your results and your quiet confidence do the talking for you.
And finally, the seventh point. Recognize and seize the small opportunities as they arise. They are the stepping stones to the big ones.
This has been a really powerful session. Next time, in our 10th exploration, we're going to look at some crucial cautions. Specifically, why you must not slip back into the competitive mindset.
Yeah, we'll discuss why looking at the visible supply, worrying that resources are running out, will absolutely destroy your momentum. And we'll talk about how to handle that fear that someone else might beat you to the prize.
But for today, I want to leave everyone with the final thought from Wattles on this chapter.
It's a big one. He says that God, or the universe, or whatever you want to call it, cannot help helping you when you act in this certain way.
Why is that?
Because the universe wants to express itself through you. Your expansion is its expansion. You're not fighting against the current. You're flowing with it. You are supported.
Thanks for being here. If you want the full series, check the playlist and please like and subscribe so you don't miss the next episode.